What's up, potheads and political junkies? This is Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture News and CannabisCulture.com, Pot TV, all the good stuff. I'm grinding up some weed here for a bong rip out of my new sublimator that I got. Yes, I got a sublimator. It was given to me, so I'm showing it on the show. Here it is. I put it in a Boom Falazi bong. It's kind of nice. Enrico, the guy who invented it, gave it to me for my birthday with the hopes that I would show it to you guys on my show, and I've been using it, and I think it's pretty dope. I've also got Dutchess here, of course. I will give you guys more thoughts on what I think about the sublimator since I've been using it myself. It's pretty cool. Love Dutchess, of course. We'll be hitting Dutchess. We got a big show for you guys today. It's the Marijuana Event Overload Show. We've had like a crazy amount of marijuana events happening in the city of Vancouver over the last little while. We had the Vancouver Health Expo and the Kush Cup. We had Cannabis Day on July 1st. And then we had the Glass Gathering, the Great Canadian Glass Gathering, Redbeard's Shindig up in Birkin, BC, which was very cool. So we're going to play you guys a whole shitload of videos from those events. We're going to show you guys some pictures that we took when we were up there and or all of those places. We're going to have Stoner Advisory on the show to show off some of her pictures. Marius is on the show. He's got the founder of Paranoid Human Being, is that the .com? Paranoid Human? ParanoidHuman.com. We're going to talk about pot and paranoia. We have Jodie Emery on the show, the Princess of Pot, to talk about the big news that happened just yesterday or 2 days ago. Marc was actually approved. His transfer application was approved by the U.S. government to come back to Canada. They want him out of there, but now the Canadian government has to say yes, and then Marc will be on his way back to serve the rest of his sentence in Canada. So we'll be talking to Jodie. Jodie, you do have a question or something? What's going on? We had some technical issues before the show that Jodie was privy to. We managed to fix them. The logo on the wall looks a little squished. It doesn't look at full, ratio there, aspect ratio. But that's about the best we could do. We used a completely different computer. Thanks, Jodie. Yeah, it worked out okay. I'm glad you asked. Thanks for noticing, Jodie. So, yeah, that's why we took a little bit before the show. But anyways, yeah, so there's a bunch of events happening. I want to, maybe we should just bring Jodie on straight up. Let's do this. So yesterday, Jodie and I went to Global BC, BC1, here in Vancouver. It was actually in Burnaby. Jodie did a segment to talk about what's going on with Marc. Now, Jodie, we might want to move this a little closer over here. Yeah, you can put it there, that maybe. Hi, Jodie.
Hello.
Ponytail.
Yeah.
Woo. Loving it.
It's
I like it.
summertime in Vancouver. Yeah.
And you seem a little shorter without your heels on, even when you're sitting.
So, hey, life is going to be all new and different, so why not embrace change of different kinds, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, except there's still a lot of work to be done. Anyway, this is what I'm here to talk about is Marc.
That's right. I was going to ask you about the big transfer. So what happened? You got news on a couple days ago, right? Or wait, was this yesterday? The days go by so fast. 2 days ago.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
It happened on Wednesday. We got word.
It was right on the Wednesday show on From Under the Influence on Pot TV.
And apparently happy 7/10 day. That's what it was.
Check mic number 2, they say. Marius, how's that mic going? Are you monitoring what's happening here, brother man? That's you, Jodie.
I'm number 2. I might have hit the switch myself.
I think we're good now.
Yeah, it looks like it's okay. It's
Testing.
It may be. We have issues with our mic cords, and we thought we got rid of all the culprits, but it could be that there's issues with the cord as well. But does it sound good now?
You know what
they
it
say
is?
It's good now.
It's Mercury retrograde because I was just sitting at having food, and right in front of me, these girls knocked into the bicycle. That's an advertisement for this stuff. And the thing spun around, and it was like this slow motion. Oh no! And then the flowers went spilling out of the basket, and it was just like this incredible scene. But I was watching, and across the street, a girl went to grab coffee off the shelf in the coffee store. All the coffee things falling. I'm telling you, it's Mercury retrograde right now.
Yeah,
It's
crazy stuff.
so
Marius, I have one other thing to ask you. Can you please move
Tech
that light so it's
issues.
facing this direction? Because I'm looking at the screen here, and I'm looking a little dark, and I know that
You
there's no
are
light
dark.
there.
We should get
yeah,
nice
because
and
it's not facing me at all. Just turn the top part.
Or even the whole thing.
Yeah.
Stand up.
All right.
move.
You just have to face it so the light's shining on me. Anyways, there we go. We do have 2 lights here, so.
Could we bring them closer?
Well, no, that's fine. That's a little bit better. Even though it really didn't. I am
All my
dark.
life I used.
I'm looking a little tan, maybe that's why. And actually, if you notice what I'm wearing today, I'm wearing my awesome CannabisDay.ca t-shirt that we had, all the volunteers had with the word staff on the back.
Yep.
And I have my love glasses on.
Love glasses.
I get so much love when I wear these glasses.
People are
Everybody
happy
hearts
about
my
them.
glasses.
Everyone hearts
Hangover
them.
sunglasses. No, they're not hangover sunglasses. I wasn't boozing last night.
It matches the shirt. That's
It
what's
does.
going on.
That's right.
It's cannabis love.
Matchy. So, okay, Jodie, we got
the
we got
mic is
sidetracked
working
there.
now. Okay, so what happened was on Wednesday, Marc's transfer application to come home to Canada was approved by the U.S. Department of Justice. So now the Canadian government has to approve it, specifically the Minister of Public Safety. However, the Minister of Public Safety was Member of Parliament Vic Taves, and he just resigned on Monday. And so that's good news on many fronts, but it now means we don't have a public safety minister to look over Marc's application. But there is a minister who takes over the duties in this sort of situation, and the minister who's taking care of the duties is the Justice Minister, the man who signed Marc off for extradition 3 years ago. So the man who sent Marc away is now the one we have to contact and ask to please bring Marc home. So that means we need a pretty good campaign going on. I think you know what I also think? Sorry, wait. I'm just looking at the camera. No, I was just thinking something about the balance of the frame. Got totally sidetracked by visual
Warning to all
layout.
babysitters. The
yeah.
Victor is loose.
Yeah, that's right. Vic Taves.
Happy 420,
everybody.
everybody. All right, I guess I should hit
Vic
hit
Taves
some
said that
sort of
he
a bomb.
wanted to take time
Oh, this doesn't
with
have water in it.
his child who is in the first grade, which is the child born unto his non-wife, his second partner. No judging, but you know, he was married and had a babysitter, and now he's involved with the babysitter and is a father to the babysitter's child, and not married to his first wife, whom hired, I guess, the babysitter. But
The gossip
you know what?
on the
Hey,
Tavester.
to each their own, but the
Yeah,
hypocrisy,
that's none of our business,
the
really.
hypocrisy of the government to, you know, really crack down on people for, you know, Vic Taves is the man who said you're either with us or you're with the child pornographers when they were talking about spying bill to allow the police to look at all our emails
Yeah.
and everything. So I guess everybody who doesn't want police snooping our emails was with the... Anyway, so he's a
Right.
bad man, but he's left the post, and now Marc's paperwork is sitting with nobody there to sign it except the Justice Minister, and he's too busy doing
Nicholson.
injustice everywhere.
Justice Minister.
Injustice Minister.
you.
But we're going to
much,
have to do some phone calls and organize campaigning. I'm visiting Marc next weekend, so we'll talk about strategy. But yeah, I need people's help because it's one thing for the U.S. to do it, but what if Canada just makes him wait and wait and wait? Then it's no different than just being kicked out next July, which is what the U.S. is going to do anyway. So we don't really know what's going to happen, but it's going to require some work.
Right. So now, of course, Marc just got out of solitary confinement a few weeks ago. He was
Yeah.
put in solitary because of banned photos taken by the prison.
Band
that
as in music bands.
Yeah,
I
not
just
banned,
realized
yes.
band also sounds like prohibited
his musical
band.
band,
but
right. Well, they were
yeah.
banned photos.
Yeah, no way.
They were permitted, and then after they were
They
taken
claimed
by
they were
the
taken
prison,
by a banned camera.
somebody at the prison thought they were taken on a cell phone,
It wasn't-
and Marc ended up in the hole for a week
And
over
it
their
wasn't even
confusion.
someone in the prison. It was someone from higher up because that was when Marc's transfer application was being reviewed, and the photos had already been online for more than a month at that time.
They were probably
and it
just
was
fucking
old
with him.
news. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Marc had that happen. But you know, coming home is a long process too. It can take 8 months. We know of an inmate Marc knew who had an 8-month journey getting back to Canada from Mississippi. So
That's
I
right.
hope that's not Marc.
They drive you around in those trucks, right? And they just bounce you
Well,
from
they
one
gotta
prison to
move you,
another.
and
and-
immigrations and customs enforcement, and there's a lot of things along the way. I don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, so it's exciting, but I don't really have answers to all the questions. In fact, Marc and I have many questions, and we can't find the answers, but we're looking into it. So.
Well, Jodie, you and I visited Global TV yesterday, BC
Yeah,
One,
out in
and
Burnaby.
we're in studio there. And actually, you did
Been
another
doing
segment
lots.
on CTV.
CTV News and
Sun News.
and every radio station and all the newspapers.
Right,
And
exactly.
Canadian press. Canadian press, here's what I do. Breaking news, you better be following me on Twitter because that's where I put it. And the first Canadian press called me. And then I had voice messages at that exact same time from 2 others, and I had to say, who's usually better to us? And then I had to pick pick and choose.
Yes.
But I got back to everybody. I always do.
See, you get to decide your access. It's just like Stephen Harper or something, you know. I don't want to talk to them. I
Canadian
want to talk to
Press
them.
did a really good article, though, and so did Vancouver Sun and the province. Not in their print. I don't get it. It's like it's almost as though publications put way more online than they do. Obviously, they put more online than they do in print. There's not enough room in print. But it's kind of sad when they have fantastic pieces of journalism online, but nobody sees it in the printed
Costs
paper.
a lot of money for those pages.
Oh, it's
And they always
sad.
cherry pick the stories that are like,
Newsrooms
you
are
know, ridiculous.
suffering.
In the Vancouver Sun, unfortunately, there's some important news going on, and the front page of the province and the Sun have, you know, something ridiculous. What's Gregor Robertson spinning at the Waldorf this week or whatever? I don't know. I'm not. That's more maybe the Georgia Strait has that on the cover. But. Speaking of Georgia Strait, Miranda's in the audience. Hi, Miranda. One of the editors of the Georgia
big
Strait.
news went all over, and also I thought there was something else Mark told me about. Oh, the province newspaper today, their editorial from the editorial board says the Tories should bring Mark home. It's a nice, short, sweet one. Did I delete it?
I
off
saw
my
that
phone?
on your
just
Twitter
did. It's
feed.
on my Twitter. That's what I was talking about. Twitter. You want all the news about Mark and everything as soon as it happens?
Check the Twitter
Be
feed.
on twitter.com/Jodie Emery. I don't like Facebook anymore, guys.
So, Marius, I wanted to play the videos of Jodie. You don't like Facebook anymore?
Sorry, yeah.
I know. Well, explain that, Jodie. Why don't you like Facebook
I don't know.
anymore?
I just, man.
It's because I think Facebook is
The
a lot
layouts
worse
and everything
now
has changed. Everything's
because,
changed.
well, they don't actually let everybody see all your posts, so you get less likes, you get less people seeing them, and they charge you money for actually, you know,
Yeah, they charge you money to
spreading
reach
them
a new audience. But me, if I go on right now and post something, it's going to see how... I posted about Mark's news, didn't really get many viewers because I haven't been on. So it's like you've got to participate to keep
That's right.
reaching
It
an
depends on
audience.
how much you
they
use
punish you for staying away. So sorry, Facebook, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be punished for being
Sticking with
busy
Twitter.
with the rest of my life. And although I like Facebook for putting up photos, and we have a huge, huge, huge following on Facebook, personally, I'm trying to narrow it down to easier.
Phase out the Facebook.
And also, people are really mean. Like, I deal with mean people on Facebook. I don't like that.
There's some real jerks.
Yeah, and they just like, that's their life, is being on Facebook and being mean. So if I don't go on Facebook, I don't encounter that, and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Marius, just want to give you a heads up about the CTV broadcast, Jodie on CTV. Do you see that one there? I want to play that one. And actually, Jodie, I don't think you ever sent me the global link.
I did right before, but the computer crashed right at that moment. It was like the file was blinking with the question mark on it. Big Mac with nothing.
I will forward that to
going
Marius,
on.
and then we can play that afterwards.
Yeah, it's there.
As well.
It's there on Global News.
There it
and
is.
also, the producer wrote me a really nice message saying it was very eloquent, covering all the points that they wanted. So.
And I thought you did a great
feel
job.
good
And actually, it was
about
fun hanging out. We went to the Burnaby studio, which,
Giant
of course, it's out in
studio.
Burnaby. And it's a big studio, Shaw Cable and Global together. But the weird thing was, when we went inside, it seemed very spooky inside because it was so abandoned.
It's not scary looking, but it's quiet.
It looks nice. A lot of money
and
spent, but
empty.
no human beings in there.
It's all digitalized.
Yeah. So you had
That's not a proper
you had
word.
just the anchor sitting in this totally empty room at the desk with Jodie sitting next to
Squire
him.
Barnes.
Yeah, Squire Barnes. And then
seen
they
that
had
guy on
one
TV.
stage manager who walked around clicking a little button, and that was everybody we saw, except for the producer
cameras
of the
on the
show.
big things move by themselves. One of them had red letters that said "help" underneath, and it was like, you know.
And there was like, you could hear your voice echoing off the empty walls, and a
In fact,
tumbleweed
if you
rolled
go on
by.
Instagram, you can see a photo Jeremiah took. Was that on your account or
It
Cannabis
was.
Culture?
Yeah, on Cannabis Culture Instagram.
Instagram.com/Cannabis Culture, and I think Twitter also.
It'll be on
put
Twitter,
the
it'll be on our
the
Flickr
Cannabis-
account, it'll be on my Facebook account.
Yeah, but you can see this giant studio we were at.
Yeah.
Got
Looks
to
like they
talk
spent a lot
about
of money on
Sensible
it.
BC.
BC1. This is the 24-hour network now.
Yes,
here
a
in
new
British Columbia.
24-hour news network.
Okay, Marius.
Okay,
so
video's up.
video, you got that first one. We'll play the CTV one first, and then I've just sent Marius the second one. So, how's that going, Marius? Ready to roll?
Let's start a knife fight.
New season,
Want to launch an attack?
new battles,
I need to show Harvey who's lost.
same attitude. Nice! Wow.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
The season premiere of Suits, Wednesday at 10 Eastern.
Marc Emery is locked up thousands of miles away, but the Prince of Pot is a step closer to being back on Canadian soil.
It is kind of a shock.
The U.S. government has approved the transfer application for Emery, meaning the marijuana advocate who is currently being held behind bars in Mississippi could serve out the rest of a sentence north of the border.
It's very possible that he could be home in time for Christmas at the earliest, but again, the very latest would be next July.
Emery was sentenced to 5 years in jail back in 2010, and if he stays in the U.S., could be out in 1 year minus a day. That's his early release date for good behavior. If he's transferred up north, Jodie Emery says he would already qualify for early release. In my hand is the letter from the U.S. Department of Justice. It is the official approval of request to transfer to Canada. It doesn't mean he's a free man, but Emery says it's a big step because he had been turned down before.
Right at this moment, as we need an answer from a public safety minister, there isn't one.
A response is still needed from Canada to finalize the transfer. Jodie Emery says typically the public safety minister, Vic Taves, would have to give his approval, but Taves stepped down this week, leaving some uncertainty. Our attempts to contact the office of the public safety minister went unanswered.
I will do what I do best, which is I'm a loudmouth. I'm a tiger woman. I'll defend my man, and I'd like to go to Ottawa and remind them that there are people like me who just need their loved ones to come home.
When Marc gets home, Jodie Emery says they will continue their fight to legalize marijuana, but maybe not right away.
I think we're going to be taking some downtime, too, because he certainly deserves a vacation, a pretty good one.
Scott Hurst, CTV News, Vancouver.
Oh yeah, we're back. Nice. So that was cool. Oh yeah, they let that one sit for a long time there.
Yeah, the end of the video clip, they just show people standing solemnly with their signs.
Hanging around, hands in pockets.
At the sentencing, or not the sentencing, the extradition date.
Right. And so, Marius, I did send to you that second email with Jodie's clip
Global
from
News.
BC1.
Did I post that on? I said I was going to share it on Twitter for them, and I didn't. And I was just talking about Twitter, so
there you go. Now, Jodie, I wanted to ask you too about some of the other things that you're doing. Are you planning on taking a trip anywhere about this? Do you know what you're doing with the? You were talking about Ottawa.
Yeah, I'd like to. It'd be neat to go to Ottawa and get some of the supportive members of Parliament that we've had before. And I know there are other people politically positioned who could possibly join us. But this is all early stages. I didn't plan anything in advance.
Right.
We didn't
I probably shouldn't have asked you then.
We didn't know if no, it's fine to ask because we didn't know when Marc might get an answer, and he got a no last time. We didn't know if he would get a yes or no, so I couldn't really start planning an event or any sort of campaign until I knew if we would even talk to the Canadian government. Because 2 years ago, when the U.S. said no, the Canadian government didn't Canada has to wait till the U.S. makes a decision. So last time we didn't even get a chance to have the ball in the Canadian court, you know?
Yeah, Obama or his team just said no.
Yeah, and so the Conservatives like, phew, we didn't have to deal with that. But now they do, but that means we need to do some sort of campaign. So
I'm gonna hit the
I got to figure that stuff out. But what we really need is people to contact the Public Safety Minister's office. That's the most basic, simple thing to do. And on the front page of freemark.ca, we have the contact information for the Public Safety Minister's office. And I'm pretty sure that everything that gets sent there will be given to the Justice Minister while he fulfills the duties of the Public Safety Minister while there isn't a Safety Minister. So,
right.
Yes.
It's ready, Marius?
This video will pause. I have to be extra tricky to start.
Okay. Marius is getting extra tricky over
there.
there.
So this video is...
Okay, let's try it.
We're going to jump to...
I like this one. Squire Barnes
BC1.
interviews Jodie Emery.
I haven't seen this yet.
No, I haven't actually watched the whole thing, but I watched it in person.
Cool, that's right.
All right. Well, I'll watch it together then.
Okay, here goes.
BC1.
Tonight, a marijuana activist in British Columbia has been granted approval to launch an official petition to decriminalize pot. Is it a step towards legalization of marijuana in this province? That's the issue. Straight ahead on Top Story. Good evening and welcome to Top Story. Elections BC has approved an initiative petition to Dana Larson that will take effect on September 9th. At that time, Larson will have 90 days to gather the signatures of 10% of voters in each of BC's 85 ridings. If he can do that, a committee at the legislature could choose to either send the matter to the Ledge for a vote or call a provincial-wide non-binding referendum. And for more on the petition, we are joined on the line, in fact, he's right in front of us, by the man behind the petition, Dana Larson. Dana, is this a big victory day for you?
Well, it's a big step forward, but we're a long way from victory. We've really got to get all those signatures that we need, and that's a big challenge. But things are going well. We're building momentum, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the campaign right now.
So how many people are going to have to spread out across the province to get these signatures?
Well, we're going to need several thousand volunteer canvassers working their butts off from September to December. The HST campaign had about 6,000 people. We're looking for something similar. We've already got several thousand people lined up who say they want to get involved. So as long as we can keep this momentum going over the summer, we should be in a good position come September.
Okay, I know the ultimate goal is legalization, but that's still basically a federal government thing, is it not? So what does this do?
Well, you're right that the real prohibition on marijuana is a federal law, but there's a lot the provinces can do. Our legislation, the Sensible Policing Act, would effectively decriminalize marijuana possession in British Columbia by using our provincial jurisdiction over the police to make the police stop doing any searches or arrests for marijuana possession. So that's not the final solution to the issues around marijuana, but it's a really good first step towards what we hope will be ultimately a fully legally and regulated system.
I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but how far down the road do you think, realistically, does it depend on who's sitting in power in Ottawa?
No, this is something that I think the people of this province can do regardless of who's really in power. The Liberal government didn't want to get rid of the HST either, but once the referendum happened, they went along with that. This is something the people of British Columbia can do. We're not dependent upon the whims of politicians for this one. We can really do this ourselves.
Have you done any studies, any polls that give you a sense of whether you can get 10% in each riding?
Oh, absolutely. The support is out there. Our polling shows over 70% support for the provisions of the Sensible Policing Act among the people of British Columbia. Our polling also found majority support among every demographic group and every political group. So even a majority of Conservative Party voters in our province want to see marijuana decriminalized. Winning the referendum vote will be the easy part. The hard part for us is just the logistical challenge of collecting so many signatures in such a short period of time.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to do it, do you?
No, we've actually been campaigning since September, so we've been at this for almost a year now. We've built a real groundswell of support. We now have 60 days to get our canvassers registered. Then from September 9th, we have 90 days to collect what comes to about 400,000 signatures. It's a big challenge, but we're really getting ready for it.
Okay, explain to me, and for people who might be a bit confused, difference between decriminalizing marijuana and outright legalizing it.
Yeah, sure, and those are terms that mean different things to different people. What our legislation would do very specifically what our legislation would do very specifically is to stop the police in British Columbia from making any searches or arrests for marijuana possession. A minor in possession of alcohol would be treated as, a minor in possession of marijuana would be treated as if that was alcohol. And then further, our law calls upon the federal government to actually repeal marijuana prohibition so that BC could then legalize in a manner similar to alcohol and tobacco. So decriminalizing means we stop focusing police resources on possession. Legalizing means there's some legal way for adults to grow and purchase marijuana in a store.
And very quickly, are there other Dana Larsons across the country working in other provinces right now trying to do the same thing?
Well, there's plenty of devoted activists across the country, but what's special in British Columbia is our referendum system. So other provinces don't have the option of having this kind of grassroots people power campaign of forcing something on the ballot. But any province could decriminalize marijuana in this fashion, and I know that many other folks in other provinces are pushing their provincial governments to also take action on this. The provinces pay for the cost of the courts, the cost of policing, and the cost of incarceration. So it's very appropriate for the provinces to decide, hey, we have better ways to spend our police resources than going after marijuana smokers.
All right, Dana, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, and anybody who wants to get involved, sensiblebc.ca is the place to go.
All right, you got the plug-in.
Hey, thank you.
Dana Larson with Sensible BC. Thank you very much. I like how he points at the camera. He's like a wrestler. Also in the news today, marijuana activist Marc Emery has been approved for transfer from federal prison in the United States. He has been serving time since 2010 after he was sentenced for selling marijuana seeds through his Vancouver-based catalog company. Now the U.S. Department of Justice determined the pot activist can spend the rest of his 5-year sentence in Canada, but the Canadian government also has to approve the transfer. That could take up to 90 days. For more on Marc Emery's situation and the battle to legalize pot in this country, we are joined by someone who knows him very well, Jodie Emery, his wife, and also the publisher of Cannabis Culture magazine. So what happens now with Marc? Now someone in Canada has to say, okay, you can come home to one of our jails.
Well, since May this year, the public safety minister has had Marc's application on his desk, awaiting the U.S. decision. But, of course, Monday, the public safety minister, Vic Taves, resigned, and we don't have a minister in charge of public safety at this time. So we don't know how long it's going to take until someone is given that position. But in the meantime, the justice minister is overtaking those responsibilities. However, he's the very same man, Rob Nicholson, who sent Marc to the U.S. in 2010. So that might be a bit of a struggle, but I'm used to petitioning for change.
Have you ever met this guy face to face?
No, I did go out to his office at one point when Marc was extradited. We had conservative office occupations across the country, and a bit of a skirmish happened there. But no, he hasn't wanted to face me, although I am very polite, so I would like to meet him in person and please ask him to please bring Marc home. But
what do you think is going to happen?
I think they should allow Marc to come home, but even if they don't, Marc's early release date for good behavior is July 9th next year. So we're under a year already, and if the U.S. kicks him out then, Canada has no oversight. And if they bring him home now, they'll be able to have their hands on him for at least a little while and to have a record here. So either way, we just want him home, but sooner would be better.
Now, you told me an interesting story. The person who prosecuted him in the U.S. is now changed sides, basically.
A number of years ago, actually, John McKay, the former district attorney for Western Washington, he decided to say that the drug war is a failure. He decided to say legalization.
He just figured that out?
He said that his experience on the front line showed that he's not in favor of pot, and he doesn't like gangs, but clearly these policies aren't working. So I was asked to come speak at the Washington State Legislature with him and testify on behalf of legalization. And then he came up here, and then he joined on with Initiative 502 to legalize pot in Washington State, and said that Marc and I could be endorsers on that list with him. So he's made the change happen that Marc was fighting for. And for us, that's better than any sort of apology. It's really action that we needed to see.
How many people, when Marc was sent to prison in the U.S., how many people who are influential reached out to him?
Well, we had a lot of people, especially in terms of political office. I gathered up 30 different elected representatives from mayors to senators through
in the
country.
U.S. Yes.
No, in Canada, actually, on this end. In the U.S., you know, there were a lot of people familiar with him, and he certainly gave huge amounts of money, millions of dollars, to the drug policy groups that have been changing laws throughout the U.S. But it's not as big of an issue down there with Marc's case as it is for Canadians, because he never even set foot in the U.S. He did everything in Canada the whole time. So for Canadians, I think we felt very violated that a foreign country could take a citizen into their country. He should have been charged here if he needed to be charged anywhere.
Now, when he does get out, and it will be next year, unless if they do bring him back to Canada, he could get out earlier.
Oh, right before Christmas at the earliest, and that'd be such a treat.
But I'm quite certain Marc isn't going to go quiet.
Well, we don't know. I mean, he needs some downtime. This man has been working and devoting his life to sacrificing towards freedom of all kinds in Canada for so long, and I think he's earned himself a bit of a vacation. We'd really like to travel throughout British Columbia and see a lot of the environmental issues and talk to different groups about different topics, but we're certainly not going to give up on the fight for legalizing pot and ending prohibition. The harm that's being caused to families and taxpayers and the country as a whole is just too great, and we won't stop speaking out.
Do you see a day when it would be legalized? I mean, now we hear what's happened with Dana Larson and trying to get the petition up and running here and having a chance to at least, you know, maybe getting it to a referendum type thing or spoken about in the legislature. How do you see it going?
Well, the first step in order to legalize pot in Canada, we have to get rid of the Conservative government. They're not going to let that happen unless they come around to true Conservative principles of small government, individual liberty, and protecting people from the dangers of gangs. But they're not in favor of legalization, so we need a change on that level.
What about the other parties?
Well, the Liberals are definitely on board. They even have legalization in their official platform. They want to legalize it because the majority of Canadians want it as well. We know that billions of dollars are being wasted in enforcement, and gangs are being enriched with billions of dollars. How can this policy continue? It's not fair to taxpayers. It's not fair to anybody. And we're getting more and more people on board. And with the U.S. changing so many of their laws and people coming on board, like Stop the Violence BC, it's not a pro-pot argument anymore. It's not a bunch of stoners wanting to get high. It's people saying, for the sake of our children, for the sake of the taxpayers' dollars, which are in such scarce supply as it is, we need to end prohibition. We need to legalize pot, tax it, regulate it, keep us safe. And I think that change is coming, but not with Harper around.
Okay. Jodie Emery, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Jodie Emery joined us in the studio, and still ahead on Top Story, the fight against downtown East Side gentrification.
All right,
Yeah, bro.
all right. So, Jodie, that was you on Global.
Yeah.
Somebody noted, Steeltown noted.
I made a mistake.
Yeah,
I mixed up policy and platform.
So it's actually a
Yeah.
policy paper. The Liberals voted. It's
Yeah.
part of their official
I've
policy.
spoken
it's not
at events
official
about it with them.
platform
Yeah.
for their election. So there's an election platform and then there's the policy.
Yes, that's
so,
right.
but I mean, the young Liberals are there working. We have friends in there who are working very hard to make this part of the official election platform. And
Yeah.
Trudeau has been mentioning the marijuana stuff.
Now, the
little bit.
election isn't
We'll see.
until 2015,
Right.
so that's some time away.
Right, yeah. There are definitely time, and Trudeau was just voted, I believe, as the leader, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I know I don't trust these Liberals either, actually, and I hope that they do stick with it, and I hope they do make it. But I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to totally switch it up whenever they feel like it. You
It
know?
depends how far along the U.S. goes in that time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easier for them to do it when the U.S. has a lot going on. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. The times have changed a little bit, but there are too many big interests involved.
Well, and that's what it is. That's why these politicians kind of dangle it in front of everybody, and then, we just can't do it in the end, you know? Because the lobbyists end up winning. I'm sure that's what it is.
But that doesn't mean we give up.
Nope.
Yeah.
We got to keep going.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jodie. Now, we also had a couple events going on. We had Cannabis Day, of course, and you spoke at Cannabis Day. We have a video of Jodie speaking at Cannabis Day. I think we'll play that on your way out. And we're going to play a bunch of other videos from Cannabis Day. We have David Malmo-Levine giving a cool speech. We also have the 420 countdown and some other things that happened. We're going to play those as well. But I think first we'll play that video, Marius, Jodie at... Cannabis Day.
I remember being riled up, but I don't remember what I said, so I'm interested.
Riled up. In fact, I haven't seen this video myself, but I did see you do it in person.
All right.
So we'll watch it together again. So yeah, this is Jodie at Cannabis Day. Thanks, Jodie, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and people can watch Jodie now on the front page of Pot TV. You guys can go there and watch it. And Jodie does a weekly show, and you can find that at youtube.com/PotTV or just on pot.tv.
Cool.
Thanks, Jodie.
Please give a round of applause. Jodie Emery.
Happy Cannabis Day, everybody. And happy Canada Day, although I don't say that with as much enthusiasm. Because as far as I'm concerned, Canada is losing its identity, losing our freedom, losing our reputation around the world as defenders of peace and justice. For so many years, Canadians were proud to travel the world with the Canada flag on their backpack, and people worldwide loved Canada. People worldwide loved the idea of a country that was freer than America, but progressive. One of the first world countries where you can really be free, where you have a vote, where you have an opportunity to work and live in justice and freedom. But it's not here anymore. I would say we lost a lot of that when Marc Emery, my husband, was arrested on July 29th, 2005, by American police agents with the Vancouver Police here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where the American government reached in and tried to take all 3 of the activists involved in the seed sales that generated money for a movement worldwide. Greg Williams, marijuana man, right before me, was one of those 3. Michelle Rainey, rest in peace, was one of the others. And Marc Emery took 5 years in U.S. prison in a country he never even went to. He took the 5-year federal prison sentence so that his 2 friends wouldn't go to prison and so that he wouldn't go to prison for 30 years to life, which is what the U.S. government was seeking. The U.S. government, the agents of evil around the world, the warriors, the warmongers, the destructors of life, the destroyers of freedom, the biggest fakers in the world that call themselves the land of the free, spreading democracy, when they in fact are the most enslaved nation in so many ways, that they have to feed a war around the world called the drug war, which has grown into the war on terror, which we all know is now a war on humanity and freedom around the globe. It began with the U.S. government declaring war on peaceful people, the pot people. The war on drugs began destroying lives and taking away mothers and fathers from their children, building massive prisons across the United States, pushing a drug war worldwide where they drop bombs and kill children. The U.S. government destroys lives, and they destroy lives outside of their country. They've hurt me. They've hurt my husband, Marc Emery. They've hurt millions of people because of this drug war. Peaceful people who have never hurt anyone. Heroic people like Marc and so many medical marijuana growers and dispensaries in the U.S. who go to prison every day in this horrific injustice. But people like Marc and all those who are paying the price are doing so to remind you that you have a responsibility. You're free. You're here today. You can still vote, as useless as it kind of really is. But you can still join a political party. You can still make donations to organizations that you feel deserve it. You can still write letters to newspapers and talk to your friends and come to rallies like this and hold your signs and flags high and say that you're not going to be afraid, that you are going to use your freedom, your responsibility, while others have to rot away in prison. You owe it to them, and they deserve to have you working for them to fight for their freedom and fight for freedom for everybody, so nobody goes to prison for cannabis or peaceful activities ever again. And Canada used to be leading the way. Canada used to be leading the way. This flag up here, some find it offensive. But that flag to me has more meaning than the flag of Canada these days, because we all know we're just another state. Our leader, not my leader, the man who stole the election and rules this country against our will, with our money, Harper, who is just an agent of evil and destruction, who is going to see many of you put behind bars in years to come. That man is evil, and people like my husband, Marc Emery, are good. And you here today participating are good and decent and honest, and you're demonstrating to the world that we can have an open market of cannabis sales peacefully, honestly, safely. Remember to drink a lot of water because it's very hot out, but be responsible in your use and demonstrate to the world that we do not deserve to be punished by any law or any government or any agent of the government, anybody involved in the drug war. And let's remember the country we used to have called Canada, and let's fight for a country that's better than what it's turning into today in so many ways, with the environment and the economy and prisons and policing and war. This government is destroying this country, and today there are military tributes all over, but right here in this spot, this is a tribute to peace. This is a tribute to freedom. This is a vision of what Canada should be every day of the year for everybody, everywhere. Marc Emery should be coming home sometime in the next year. Marc's early release date for the U.S. is July 9th, 2014. That's next July 9th. Marc will be kicked out of the United States of America, kicked back out to Canada. But he also has a transfer application in the hands of the U.S. government at this minute, and we're hoping they approve it. And then the Canadian Harper government, who doesn't really care much for me or Marc, but hopefully they'll approve his transfer home. And in the best case scenario, Marc Emery, the Prince of Pot, could be back home free from U.S. prison, perhaps right before Christmas, but again at the latest July next year. And we're going to welcome him home, hopefully next Canada Cannabis Day, with a big warm welcome and a thank you for all he's done, and a kickoff for the fight ahead, where we get rid of Stephen Harper, get rid of this conservative government, get rid of the drug war, get rid of marijuana prohibition, give medical marijuana access to all who need it, and allow everyone else out there to possess it with no fear of any punishment, because we should be a country of freedom, and that's what we're going to have to fight for, no matter how long it takes. Happy Canada Day. Happy Cannabis Day. Thank you to all our sponsors, of course, My Cannabis Culture headquarters and Cannabis Culture and Pot TV, Vancouver Seed Bank, the dispensary, Kush.ca, but also every vendor here today, all of you using peaceful civil disobedience and kicking in a few bucks to help make this happen. You guys are a huge part of this fantastic event. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. And have a fabulous afternoon, everybody. Free Marc Emery and free all the prisoners of the marijuana and drug war. Thank you.
Jodie Emery.
All right. Uh-oh. All I see is YouTube. There it is. So that was Jodie, Cannabis Day. I'm going to take a bong rip here. I had a lighter. Oh, I still do. And it's red. Dutchess, hello. Whew. Oh, that was nice. Okay, and actually, now I'm going to bring Marius on. Marius, you're up, brother. I'll load you a bong rip too, Marius.
Hi everyone. I have with me here Brian. I can't pronounce your name.
Bossamanowicz.
Bossamanowicz.
If you want to remember it, you can think of Bossa, then Manowitz is the easiest way to remember my name, because you're not going to remember it otherwise.
Yeah, I tried to do it phonetically, but it wasn't.
And it's so embarrassing to have to say that, because I honestly don't think of myself as like a witty person. I really don't. It's the easiest way to remember my name that I know.
Nice.
But anyways, go ahead.
All right. And Brian here is the founder of an organization at paranoidhuman.com. I ran into him at a tent at Cannabis Day, and he is offering a unique service for potential medical marijuana users. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how you got started?
Sure. The main, most controversial, and most important piece of what I do is a rejection of the argument that for some individuals who have a certain type of reaction to cannabis, they just shouldn't smoke it. This is the theory I call the common sense mantra. I'd love to have some better terminologies to describe it, because I don't think it makes a lot of sense that people who, quote, get paranoid should not smoke pot. I think that's outdated, and I think people who get paranoid but want to engage the culture, want to engage the medicine, should have a resource if they choose to seek it. And I wanted to create that resource, and I did it in the form of a coaching community, basically.
Okay, and how many people have you helped so far?
Probably 30 people I work with in a professional capacity on an ongoing basis. I have, right now I'm working with 5 clients. So we meet either weekly or bi-weekly. And and we basically provide a safe, designated forum for individuals to learn how to contextualize this effect of cannabis, where they can talk openly without any fear of social retribution. If they want to talk about aliens or UFOs, that's welcome subject matter. The policy we have in our bylaws is that anything you want to talk about is open, but we don't prod people. Like, we don't try to get people to really get into a negative frame of mind or a dark frame of mind. We just say, hey, this is your space. Everyone here knows what you're talking about. It's a supportive community in a way. It's a supportive dynamic. So that's their place where they can explore these thoughts and maybe trace the source of them in some way, shape, or form, which happens. When it happens, it's quite alarming. Through using cannabis as a magnifying lens to image the consciousness, to image different pieces of the consciousness in a way that you can create symbolic deconstructions back to source material that is often very relevant to this person's day-to-day life.
I see. So this sounds like more of a psychological exercise. You did mention something about finding that dosage was a high priority, or finding out what the dosage is.
Yeah, when we met at Cannabis Day, and I was yelling at you because we were trying to do an interview and it was so noisy.
I know.
I'm like, dosage is key.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Well, there's a handful of things that you can do to change your experience on cannabis. And what I tell people, the simplest thing, more so than strain, more so than the genetic components that we help people with, which a whole nother discussion. Dosage is so critical. If you are able to find the dosage that you're comfortable at and understand what your dynamic is, you can enjoy being high and not really, that paranoia feeling can be there. It can be, you can sense it, but you keep it at arm's length where it can never interrupt your life flow, basically. So it's a type of Zen pot smoking, I suppose. But
so is this for like medical marijuana users?
It's
just for anybody who feels like they want to smoke marijuana but was put out by the paranoia of it.
It's an open community. My first priority, and unfortunately I don't get to work with these people as often as I like, are people that are suffering from a serious medical condition that urgently feel that cannabis would be a good treatment, but they just they have this awful connotation with it, and it extends to edibles, it extends to tinctures, whatever. Those are the people that I would most want to work with. I tend to work with people who ultimately just want to go to a party and not worry about whether they're going to freak out at the end of the day. That seems to be the demographic I attract. Some of that you can account to my marketing, my approach. It's a tough concept to market. Really tough.
Absolutely.
And it pays off. I mean, there's enough of demand out there that even though I'm not a marketer by any means, I'm not a good salesman, honestly. Like, there's enough of a market out there, underrepresented, disserviced minority as far as I'm concerned, that is curious about what I'm doing and they want to know more, and I try to provide the best service I can for them with the information I've accumulated. But yeah, it's slow. Marketing's tough.
Well, yeah, and certainly paranoia is a fairly common effect, especially to beginner users of cannabis. And the psychological and psychiatric institutions we have right now are more or less prejudiced against cannabis use in the first place. So I can see how there would be quite a demand for your kind of service where people can go into, because even when you're in a paranoid state, the things that you're experiencing are often real, and they can be unresolved traumas, and they're relevant to your life, which is to just dismiss them, give up cannabis and not experience that state, I think would be wrong, because I think these paranoid, these experiences, as you call them, and that you work to unlock with your patients, clients, or whatever, are deep and meaningful to them. So that's
absolutely. They're deeper than I ever thought they were when I first began this. I mean, I was aware of my own self-explorations, but once I was actually, the first time I ever really locked in a paranoid an exercise we did allowed me to really lock into a clear symbolic source. It almost was Freudian in nature. And something clicked, and I'm like, listen, this is beyond what I'm capable of dealing with. But what I did discover was important, and that you can unlock these relevant elements of the psyche and explore them for all they're worth with the exercises I'm putting together. It can have a very real effect. Whether it's ultimately good or bad, wow, what a tough question. I mean, some people think psychoanalytics is just a constant peeling and peeling and peeling and peeling. But the reality is there's interest in it, there's a demand for it, there's a sense of social exclusion from people that have these unresolved issues, that get paranoid, that live in Vancouver where cannabis is so mainstream and so visible, and they can't enjoy a joint with their friends. I have a problem with that.
Well, that sounds really fantastic. You were going to have a client of yours come in today, but she was a bit camera shy.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave it at that.
Confidentiality, blah. Confidentiality is important.
Yeah. So have you helped everybody that has come in and worked on you, or there have been some failures? What is your percentage rate?
My batting average in curing people's paranoia. Let's see. You know, I have to say that's a huge sticking point with me. Is I don't think I can cure paranoia. I don't like saying I can cure paranoia. I think as long as darkness exists in the world, as long as there's sensitive people out there, there's always going to be times where we rub up against some dark shit and it makes us uncomfortable. And certain people are very sensitive. Cannabis magnifies that in a way. Yeah. What I offer is a contextualization service, and the function that I use to measure my success is the longer people do the programs. This is true. The more progress I see being made. And I know that sounds really salesy.
No,
but the people that come
sense.
and like they're curious, but they're just not comfortable with the idea of lying down on a couch, smoking pot, and talking. I don't see results with them because I try to measure it, but they're not in the program long enough. That's the best I can say.
Well, it's you get in what you put out. That's
Sure.
with just about everything in life. Okay, well, thank you very much. It was really good to meet you. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, please check out my website, paranoidhuman.com. The second edition of my book just came out. Buy it right here at the Urban Shaman Bookstore, Marijuana Political Party Bookstore downstairs. It's called Handbook for the High Functioning Paranoiac. Just ask for the Paranoid book, and they'll get it for you. But yeah, that's all.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Brian. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Come back sometime soon, and maybe if you can bring some over and
we can talk all day.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks.
Hey, cool, man. Hey, Marius, stay there for a second and take your bong rip.
All right.
That was really cool, man. You like that interview? Yeah, I really did like that interview, and I think that's a cool service that you're providing. And I do, because I know a lot of people who have that problem and who, you know, they not just paranoia, but all kinds of other anxiety issues around pot when they smoke it. So you know, I'm happy that somebody's actually providing some sort of information about that. It's pretty cool, and it sounds like you know your stuff. So, how was that one, Marius?
Really good, thank you.
Nice. So, you like doing the old interviewing or what?
Yeah, it's fun doing interviews.
It's kind of like the seat right here. The host is a lot higher actually than the guest.
Yeah,
I never really noticed that before because I'm a little shorter myself. I have my chair jacked up. Yeah, I know. It's like it's like looking down at you all.
Oh, the seat can go down a bit. There we go.
Oh, there. Yeah, Now you can bring it back up. It's okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I like it on the guest couch. I like this set a lot better than the set we used to have where we were standing at the banana table and we were just standing for 3 hours.
That's true. Yeah. The good old days.
The good old days.
No, we never did that long show. Possibly because we were standing.
Probably, yeah. No, we went like 2 hours at least. But now we go like 2 to 3 hours. What time is it?
For sure.
5:07.
Well, we started late today.
So. We did. We started about 10, 15 minutes late.
Computer difficulties.
Yeah. Issues. Yeah, our Mac crashed completely and seems to have nothing on it but a flashing folder with a question mark on it.
That's not good. Well, you were going to put in another operating system on it anyway.
That's right. We're going to wipe it off, but it seemed to have wiped itself in the meantime. Well, yeah, Marius, I want to play some more videos, and I want to bring Megan, Stoner Advisory,
let's do that.
out on the show. I don't know if I'm allowed to call you by your real name.
See you guys.
Whoops, slipped up. Okay, well, I'll switch. Come on. right this very second. What up? Stoner Advisory, photographer, Cannabis Culture, and other things. She's got a cool Facebook thing going on with a lot of her shots there. Where can people find
Stoner
your
Advisory
pictures
shots.
there?
Stoner Advisory Shots on Facebook.
And that's facebook.com/
Yes, I believe.
Stoner Advisory Shots right afterwards?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So how long you been taking pictures for?
I've been doing the rallies for about 3 years. I came over at about 2010, and I started doing the Global Marijuana March was my first one, actually. Yeah, it was really, really
Here in
interesting.
Vancouver.
Here in Vancouver, yeah.
Nice.
That was my first ever rally, and I absolutely loved it. So I came back, and I did the one of the Free Marc actual rallies when he first went to jail. We're all protesting over at Victory Square. And that was my second one. And then, did Cannabis Day again.
Remember that
And
one. Yeah.
then on to 420, and everybody loves 420, the big one.
420 is huge.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
always
you
a great
have,
one
I
to
really
shoot.
like your shots. We have a place on Cannabis Culture for your shots. Usually, you always submit them to us, and we have them up online. And people can find those. I don't know if you're tagged. We should tag you in the...
I don't know if I'm tagged,
I don't know, but we should... if you look at any of those items that she just mentioned, any of our coverage, you'll find her stuff in there, too. So, what did you think you were at Cannabis Day shooting this year?
Yes. Cannabis Day was awesome.
It seemed a little slower this year.
It was a little bit slower. Like, I noticed last year was like a little bit more packed, but it's easier to move around through the crowds, honestly, when it's not so packed.
I know.
But
It's true,
We do like those
actually.
numbers. We do like those numbers, though.
That's true, yeah. And at 420, it was like the most packed we've ever had. The Cannabis Day was a little on
Yeah,
the
that
slow
was
side.
intense, right?
But it was still packed. And that's true. It was a Monday. And also, because it was Canada Day, there was a whole bunch of other things happening downtown. And actually, Miranda told me, who's sitting in the audience here that day, that she had gone down to Commercial Drive and other places, and that they were totally dead as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? It's like, wow.
Vancouver was a ghost town on Canada Day for some reason. But we still had thousands of people there. We really did, especially at 420, pack the place as usual. And speaking of packing things, do you want me to pack you a bowl here?
That would
Do you
be
want
awesome.
to do you want to hit Dutchess or do you want to hit the Sublimator? It's your choice.
Either
Your
one.
choice.
I don't know. They're both really. The Sublimator is pretty crazy.
Okay,
though.
we're gonna hit the Sublimator.
Okay,
then.
let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Love to get
Nice.
sublimated.
Yeah. So, okay, give us your thoughts on this. You're a totally objective person. Do you know Enrico, the guy who did the
I
Sublimator?
don't,
You don't?
unfortunately,
Well,
but he
okay.
seems to
So,
make
give
some
us
pretty
your
cool stuff.
objective opinion of the Sublimator. You've hit it a few times.
Yes, I have hit it a few times. I've hit it once with butter, and I've also, this will be my first time with actual flower kind of leaf. I smoke a lot of extracts, so this will be interesting. I really enjoyed smoking the butter out of it. It gets you like absolutely toasted.
So
It's
do you think
awesome.
some people think that it gets you more high than other bongs and pipes? I'm not sure if that's true or not myself, but I do think that it's quite a concentrated...
I think it might get you higher faster.
Right, okay.
But I don't know
Yeah.
if it necessarily
Gets you any higher.
Yeah.
No, yes.
Like, I
that's
think-
a
I think
great
you can get to a certain
clarification
point.
there.
I don't know if you can exactly get much higher.
And I think the reason that people say that is, and it does get you faster, is because you are putting a lot into one bong rip when you do it.
Yeah.
It's like a whole volcano
I
bag
know,
into
it's
one
like,
rip or
yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, smoking a whole joint in one kind of thing.
But although
so.
it doesn't always, take the first time you do it, it doesn't take everything. So, you can hit it over a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times until it's totally
it's
done.
actually like, I don't know, smoking butter out of it was really nice. It's quite smooth.
Yeah, and I
find
like
it's-
smoking
find
weed
it's
out of it
really
too.
smooth.
But I like putting water in the bong itself because it cools it down. Just something about that makes it
Well, you could also put ice in that and just make
This
it
one does
super
have an ice
awesome.
choke.
It does.
And I purchased this Boom Falazi piece at CCHQ, 307 West Hastings Street, downtown Vancouver, and it was a damn good deal. And there are many more in
Always
store
good
for all of
deals.
you out there watching, so come on down. That's right, Boom Falazi. These guys are from California, I guess. I don't know if you guys met them or something. Whoop. Or, you guys, bumped into them in Vegas, and they make some cool stuff. So, cool guys, cool glass. All right, Sublimator. And it's, now powered by Enrico's Sublimator, which I really do like, and I've been using it at my house for a couple days, or like about a week now, and it's pretty slick. Although, there's a few things, it does take a long time to get warm, or it's like 10, 15 minutes to really warm up, so you gotta advance notice, you gotta think ahead. But then once it's plugged in, I just kind of leave it there all day and all night. And that's another bad thing is that
just have it
seems like
constantly
some
hot.
sort of I'm kind of I don't know. It's plugged into the wall. It's on all the time. I wonder, is that draining my electricity in my house?
I don't know how much of a charge would be going in on that.
I don't know either. But I mean, it does have to keep warm. And I know he does make them where they have an off switch. So I might be better off with one of those because I've just been leaving the damn thing on. And if it happened to fall over
I don't know if that's really good. Like, what kind of heating system is that good for the heating system in it?
I don't know. I guess
I don't think it is.
But see, I'm so irresponsible when it comes to remembering to turn the damn thing off that it's probably best if I get one with a timer on it. All right. It is, you know, like any other kind of tool or item, like a torch or anything, you have to be careful with it. It's very hot. You don't want to touch it. And some people already have. So I heard that one person put the sublimator up to his forehead to like wipe his forehead and burned himself on the forehead. I think Enrico told me that.
What?
You're actually, you're supposed to have had that thing on the thing for a while.
Oh, on the bowl?
To heat it up.
Well, okay.
Thermal equilibrium.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to be doing it the whole time. How long does it have to be on the bowl for?
Just a few minutes.
Just a few minutes? Well, let's do that then.
Well, let's,
it still
if
works.
We're gonna
it still
do
works even if you don't, though.
It'll still work.
Yeah, because it gets hot super quick. But we might as well do it right. See, that was not told to me. See, you need a damn instruction booklet for this thing.
It'd be good if you got proper instructions.
That's right.
Well, it's implied in the instructions.
It's
Is it
implied.
implied?
Come on, you're dealing with stoners,
I
Marius.
wrote one of the instructions.
Oh well, okay. I didn't see any instructions.
Oh, you didn't get 2 cards in your thing? Okay.
No.
There's 2 cards.
No. No, it was just he was given to me. He's like, here you go. Let's see. It's a heated down stem. Let's see. People, yeah. There's a lot of Subla haters in the chat sometimes.
Well, it's kind of one of those things that you either love it or you hate it. Well,
Yeah.
I found
I'm not
with
really
a lot
sure
of
why it
people.
provokes such a big thing. It's just another smoking device. I don't understand what's the big fucking deal.
It really is, and it
And I
can
don't
be
even,
convenient
on both
in certain
sides. I don't
ways.
see. It's not that great. I mean, it's cool. It does the thing, and I really like it. It's nice, but it's just another. All things are just another smoking device. It's not fucking like the Holy Grail or something. I don't know, but. And that goes for the people who hate it so bad. Like, give me a break. It's just another thing to smoke through. Why devote so much of your passion to hating something so much?
Well, there's people that like their joints. There's people that like their bongs. There's
know.
people that like their
It's true.
smoking their oil rigs. Like,
And I think it's all
everybody has their
snobbery
thing.
in ways. Like, it's all my gang's better than your gang bullshit. I don't know. A lot of it is. Maybe not.
That happens a lot,
Maybe I'm being unfair,
unfortunately.
but yeah. Yeah, it does happen a lot. It happens everywhere you go, too. Like in university, I always remember every single university department thought they were the coolest university department and every other department sucked.
Well, it's like every movie is the best movie of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
come
that's
on.
true, too. Oh, that's probably for, it's another story. Yeah, so you took a lot of photos. Now, we were going to put some of those photos up, Marius. Is that possible on the backdrop there?
Yeah, we could.
Marius is going to throw some of your photos up on the wall.
Awesome. Hope you all enjoy.
Yeah. And let's see here now. So I do have other videos, a whole bunch of them from the Cannabis Day event. And we also have videos from the Kush Cup and the Vancouver Health Expo that we haven't played yet. And we're going to have to do all of that because it's already starting to roll here.
Oh, the Kush Cup.
The Kush Cup. Now, you didn't actually, were you at any of the Kush Cup events?
I was at a couple little snippets. I was at the Health Expo for a little bit. I was not really kind of just poking my head in, seeing what was going on.
Yeah.
I was at, I kind of helped my buddy get his gear to the Daniel Wesley thing. I could have stayed, but
Oh yeah, we have a
it'd
video
been
of that
it had been a-
performance,
yeah,
the Daniel
gotta
Wesley
play that.
performance.
But I did get to go to the Charlie Murphy and Trailer Park Boys, Randy and Leahy, and I got to photograph them,
Nice.
which was absolutely awesome.
That's right, you were running around there.
Yes, I was. I was down in the pit there, right 10 feet from Charlie Murphy and the Trailer Park Boys. That was awesome. Got some really cool shots of Charlie Murphy on that one.
Yeah, it was cool. It
Randy
was cool
and
to see
Leahy.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shots of him and some video of him too. I still haven't uploaded any of that video yet.
You should.
Yeah,
Come on,
I will.
Show everybody.
I will.
Awesome.
And in fact, I had a couple videos of Charlie Murphy, but I don't think we're going to play them on the show today. You guys can find video of Charlie Murphy actually on Urban Remo right now. There's 2 videos on his YouTube page that are pretty cool. Although the sound seems a little off, so the
Yeah,
videos
you kind of
that
have
I
to turn
have,
it up and listen close.
Yeah, I think mine are a little clearer, but that stuff's coming soon. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other performances that happened at the Kush Cup as well. Be Real from Cypress Hill was there. We got a bunch of footage of that. I haven't seen any of that online yet either.
I haven't seen any of the footage of the boat cruise. I didn't get to go on the boat cruise either.
The boat cruise was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
I want to see video.
No,
I didn't get to go on that one this year.
Yeah, we shot a lot of video on the boat cruise too. Or Marc shot a lot of video, and he had professional. He's always got his team of guys that follows him around.
Yeah, I
with
know.
this
It's crazy,
really
right?
dope camera that he has, and yeah, they shot some really cool stuff. And
yeah, I shot a video with him
was
at the
on the boat
glass
too.
gathering.
Be Real was there chilling on the boat, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, I missed that.
Be Real's funny because
so
every time I talk to him, we're talking about like live stream issues and things like that. Because he's a tech guy, he has BeReal.tv, which is a streaming network, and he uses live stream as well. And so he's always looking for new ways of like better ways to shoot and stuff. Because right now, it's really limited the way we do this stuff. We can't use any really good cameras. They force you to use webcams like this. And
yeah.
I don't know. Live broadcasting on the internet has a long way to go. They should allow
a little
you
bit choppier than regular
make
cameras.
Better cameras, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there are other options out there, but they start getting really expensive at some point. Yeah, and so I wanted to say something else while we were mentioning the Weed Guy real quick and Remo. The Weed Guy and Remo are working on a project. It's just in editing right now called The Kush Brothers. It's an exclusive Pot TV thing, and it's going to be kind of funny. It should be coming very soon as well. But yeah, Marius, I think we should play some of the videos from Cannabis Day, and then we'll get into the Kush Cup after that. But let's play another clip of Cannabis Day. Let's play the 420 smoke celebration there. You got that one? You know which one I'm talking about? It says like 420 Smoke Off Cannabis Day or something like that on the list. And this is the big event at Cannabis Day. So at our events in Vancouver, they're 420. That's the one. That's the one. So
always awesome.
We always talk about it on the show, and so people who are watching probably know, but in Vancouver we have like 156 vendors booths at this particular event last time that showed up. Half of them or more selling marijuana itself openly to everybody. It's one of the only places in the world, or it's the only place in the world that has open cannabis sales on the street in a farmer's market sort of setting.
I've had people come up to me and be like, how is this possible? And it's like, well, you're in Vancouver. Like,
that's right. And now it's only possible. And actually, maybe we should play this one first, Marius. David Malmo Levine, his speech from Cannabis Day. And this actually explains some stuff about how it happens in Vancouver with the police and how we've got to the point we're at right now. That it says David Malmo Levine, Cannabis Day. Is that one on there?
Yeah, it's ready.
Okay, that one's ready. So let's watch this one. This is David Malmo Levine talking about Cannabis Day and what goes on there, and we'll talk more about it on the other side.
Hello, Amsterdam. Okay, how many people here are really high? Raise your hand. Excellent, excellent. We're winning the drug war. They cannot stop the buzz. Every puff brings us closer to victory. I would like to mention it is going to be one of the hottest cannabis days ever. So if people aren't passing out because they're eating records amounts of brownies, they're going to pass out from not hydrating or getting sunstroke and being in the sun too much. So I want everybody to remain cool at all times, drink plenty of water, and, go to the washroom and soak your head. Just stay cool because we don't want anyone passing out today for any reason whatsoever. Now, if you're a teen pot smoker and you're out there, please do not pick today to be the day you learn what your limits are. Do that at home with mom and pa there to talk you back down. Okay, so moderate use, especially of novice users. Please, we're begging you. It's the only problem we have here. 20,000 people come here over the course of the day. They all get really high, or most of them do. And the only problem we have is people occasionally passing out. And then they wake up again. Unlike alcohol night, where sometimes they pass out and don't wake up, here they do. But that's our only problem. So help us with our only problem by moderately using cannabis. And set an example, a good example for younger users, and smoke moderately in front of them too. because monkey see, monkey do. I would like to discourage all the stigma foisted upon our young users by some people. Even in the movement, we were like, oh, we can't have teens smoking pot. That'll look bad on the news. No, it won't if you educate people as to the real dangers. The real dangers are jail, buying shitty weed on the black market, and mixing drugs like hard drugs, like the prescription medicines we put our teenagers on and younger children on all the time, mixing those medicines with hard drugs like caffeine, which can kill if you use too much of that, unlike cannabis. So not teaching our kids how to do drugs is a problem. But kids will do drugs. It's like banning sex among teens. It's not going to be very effective. So it's better that they have access to condoms. Same with drugs. Banning drugs among teens isn't going to be very effective. How many people here started smoking pot before they were 18? Raise your hand. That's a lot of people. That's a huge chunk of people. Some might say at least half of us started smoking pot before 18. So banning it ain't going to work. It's like banning adult use. That's not going to work either. So what we have to do is teach our children how to smoke pot the right way. High pleasure, low pressure activities. Smoke organic. Stay away from those radioactive chemical fertilizers. And, moderation and respect. I would like to point out that unlike every other protest we've ever had, the protests this year have a special significance because we're likely to be able to legalize marijuana through Sensible BC. Now, we've had 40 years of promises from politicians. Oh yeah, we're going to reduce penalties, we're going to legalize pot. Ever since the Ledane Commission came out, around the time I was born. So how many more generations are we going to wait until the politicians do something? Well, let's not wait for the politicians. We've been waiting for the politicians and judges to do something. They're not going to do anything. Even though they promise to do stuff, they never deliver on those promises. But Sensible BC is a non-politician, non-judge way of changing things. We can ignore what they're doing and just gather signatures to legalize pot. Now, do we have anyone from Burnaby here? Raise your hand if you're from Burnaby. Okay, we got a few people from Burnaby. We have anyone from Surrey here? Raise your hand if you're from Surrey. We got a few people from Surrey. We got people from Port Coquitlam here. How many people here are not from Vancouver, but from somewhere else other than Vancouver? Raise your hand. Okay, especially you people. Go to the Sensible BC booth. Sign up. Something could be done. And because it's activist-created legalization, we can decide what the legalization is going to look like. Right now, we're just trying to get two things happening. One, for the police to be defunded from being able to enforce adult use of up to an ounce, or possession and use of up to an ounce of weed. That's what it would do immediately. The second thing it would do is it would put pressure on our government to legalize, set up some sort of legal model. And if they don't do it in 2017, we will have another referendum where they defund the police ability to bust growers and dealers too. So because it's an activist created model, it's going to be the kind of model that will include everybody. In the United States, there were two models of legalization, one in Washington State and one in Colorado. Washington State was done by an ambitious lawyer. Colorado's was done by activists. In Washington State, you're not allowed to grow your own. In Colorado, every adult can grow 6 plants. If you grow your plants like they do in Humboldt County with a great big root ball, huge 100-gallon planters, you can grow 10-pound plants. 6 plants equals 60 pounds per adult, not per household, per adult in Colorado. That is the kind of legalization I could live with. If each one of you adults could grow 60 pounds of pot every year, don't you think we'd all be a lot better off? Aren't you sick of starving, my friends? I sometimes wonder how on earth anyone's supposed to make a decent, honest, legal living in this town. The only real good job is pot growing and pot dealing. All the rest of those corporate jobs, you got to put on the corporate noose, necktie, take orders from some dude you don't like. I like a job that has great pay and no boss. I think we all deserve jobs with great pay and no bosses. And that's the nice thing about the pot economy. You're your own boss. You decide when you get up. You decide when you go to work. You decide how much time you put in those plants or how to trim. You're your own boss. And I like the idea of Canada filled with a whole bunch of independent small businesses. And that's the kind of model of legalization I'm fighting for. And I'm constantly stressing to all my fellow activists in Canada, that's the kind of legalization we should all be fighting for. The anti-poverty type of legalization. Because if we retain any of the bullshit stigma on cannabis that doesn't deserve to be there, if we treat it any more severely than we do caffeine, we're likely to be stuck with overregulation and monopoly. And if we have monopoly, we can't deal with poverty. You know, when you're walking down the street and there's a beggar there and somebody says, get a job. Well, we can give people those jobs. 150 years ago, 7 out of 10 jobs are agricultural jobs. Now it's less than 2%. We can get those jobs again for people by giving them the right to grow all the high-value medicinal crops. Not just cannabis, coca, poppies, aphrodisiacs, hallucinogens, all of them, all the useful herbs. Now, the reason we don't use them right now is they're not researched. The reason they're not researched is they're not patentable. It doesn't matter. They're safer, cheaper, and more effective than the pills. They should be researched and utilized properly for their full potential, and they should be covered under the healthcare system. So if you're poor and you're sick, you get free weed. That'd be a lot cheaper than giving them free pills, which we do now, because the pills don't work, and they're expensive, and they're dangerous. So I'm not just a pot activist for economic reasons. I'm also a pot activist for environmental reasons. If you take the time and look into it carefully, you will discover that the real reason that pot is illegal, it isn't just because of racism, and it isn't just because of a medicinal monopoly. It's because the oil companies don't want to compete with hemp ethanol. Look it up. Hemp ethanol, 5 times cheaper than gasoline. $500 conversion kit will turn any car into a hemp ethanol powered car. No more oil wars anymore because hemp even grows in sand. It'll grow in any country on earth. It'll reclaim desert regions. There'll be no more oil spills anymore because a hemp ethanol spill would just evaporate. So no more BP, Exxon Valdez bullshit. And there'd be no more climate change anymore because hemp acts as a carbon sink. 30% of the CO2 is trapped in the roots and the leaves in the soil every year. So, recap, no more oil wars, no more oil spills, no more climate change, 5 times cheaper than gasoline at the pump, and $500 conversion kit will turn any car into a hemp ethanol power car. That's the real reason hemp is overregulated and pot is still illegal for most people. So one of the benefits of legalization will be we get rid of the red tape around industrial hemp and we stop suffering from these oil wars and these Fukushimas and this stupid, non-renewable, monopolizable energy economies that we have. We'll get rid of those too, and then the farmers will have a great cash crop to grow, and the farmers will get rich, and the corporations will have to work for a living. That's the world I want to see, and it's possible if we all work together. Sensible BC is the best chance, the best hope we have of doing that. So I beg you, get active. Sign up. Collect signatures. I'm going to be out there collecting signatures. I already work pretty hard, 7 days a week mostly, but I'm going to get out there and collect signatures because that's real change. That could happen. Could you imagine what would happen if we depenalized pot in British Columbia? The rest of the world would take notice. Canada would take notice. We're the only province allowed in Canada to do a referendum or a referendum. So it would put immense pressure on the rest of Canada to legalize and regulate cannabis there too. So this is our chance. Let's do it together. I remind you, it was a misinformation campaign that made it illegal. It'll be a re-education campaign to make it legal again. If you want to learn more about cannabis and other herbal medicines in the drug war, I advise you to check out the Herb Museum. Our tent is right back there. And we will give you a free postcard with links to a website And you can check out the Herb Museum every day between 5 and 11 p.m. It's at 303 West Hastings on the second floor of the BC Marijuana Party. Get educated, learn about cannabis, learn about hemp, learn about mushrooms, learn about opium, coca, learn about Damiana and Yohimbe, learn about LSD, learn about coffee, tea, tobacco, chocolate, and the cacti and the fungi. Learn about all those things, and you will be a much more independent, powerful person, more able to become fully free. The true north, strong and free, which is what Canada is supposed to be all about. The true north, strong and free, which is what we are right now. Very effing free. The freedom to do anything you want so long as you're not harming other people. That's true freedom. So we should protect all the harmless people in our community. Teen pot users, pregnant mother pot users, mentally ill pot users. Doesn't matter. If you're a pot user, you've already decided to put it in your system. You should have the best information. You should have the best weed available. You should have a safe point of sale. And you should have the dignity and respect to decide what medicine and food you stick in your belly, because it's your belly. You're going to have to live with the consequences. So ultimately, these things have to be part of freedom, or else we're not free. You have the right to tastes and pursuits, said John Stuart Mill, and he was right. And my tastes are a little bit of Kush once in a while. And my pursuits, I want to one day be a great pot dealer, deal to the healthy. I have an idea. I want to set a medical marijuana group called the Stressed and Depressed and get everybody in Canada a doctor's note. And once everybody in Canada has a doctor's note, I want to fight for the right to not have to get doctor's notes for effing herbs. They're just herbs. Let us, be the non-doctor area of medicine and have that covered under health care. I have a dream. One day, we'll sit at the table with the coffee bean junkies and the alcohol connoisseurs and the tobacco enjoyers and all the other drug users and be able to grind our weed and hold our heads up high and say, free at last. That's all I really had to say. Puffed off, keep your heads held high, Amsterdam.
David Malmo Levine, friends. He is one of the guys that is responsible for us being here today, let me tell you.
Yep, DML does rock. DML's the man. That was video that was shot by, was that you, Marius, who shot that video?
No, I didn't.
You didn't shoot that, so it was probably Alyssa then. Alyssa Vale, who works for Pot TV and works in the building here in the Vapor Lounge, shot the video probably. And
Maybe it was me, I'm not sure.
Could have been Marius.
It was one of them.
I was running around with my camera, and it was probably put together by Marijuana Man, I believe, that video.
For sure.
Yeah, that was Mr. Marijuana Man. And we have the 420 one as well. I don't know, maybe we should just send people to the website to watch that. It's already 5:36. You guys can go to the front page of pot.tv right now and find more videos from Cannabis Day here in Vancouver. There's a bunch of stuff up online right now. And there will be even more coming up over the next few days, over the weekend. There's a ton of video, and others are still uploading all their video, so we'll be putting that up on Cannabis Culture and Pot
So
TV
much
as well.
video going around.
Ton of stuff.
Awesome video, so
Yeah,
definitely recommend it.
there is, and there's lots of photos, and we'll have more coming from you. And so we have photos going up now that you can actually sort of see better in the background.
glass gathering photos.
This picture that's up that we just saw, the Mick Ronalds one. So at this Cannabis Day, the people who are selling pot out in the crowd are getting very creative with their logo designs.
Oh yeah, it's been great. As the years progress, you see all the different people trying out the different signs, and it's like, I like your sign, I'm gonna check out what you got.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It definitely draws people in.
It really does catch people, and I mean, who knows how good the weed is, but people see the sign and they're like, I want to buy from Mick Ronalds or whatever,
I know.
you know?
It's also kind of ingrained into our brain, I think. So they got a good one.
No, that was really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we went around and actually looked at how the weed was. There was a lot of good weed there this time.
Yeah, I didn't really find too much extracts that I really liked, but there was a lot of really good weed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And there was a lot of edibles. That's what you see the most of that are very creative,
God,
different kind of edibles.
I had cannabis-infused cotton candy. Where else? I was like,
Cotton
all right,
candy's good.
sweet.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of stuff. I like the lemonade myself. The
Oh,
candles
yeah,
lemonade.
I tried that. That was awesome.
Yeah, lots of cookies, lots of brownies, all different kinds of things. We went around, actually, myself and Courtney, and collected a bunch of prizes from all the different booths to throw out to the crowd or to give away and for the contest that we had on stage. And
I think I actually got one of those.
yeah, yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff. And actually, it was Med Mark brought a T-shirt cannon, and the T-shirt cannon was loaded up with stuff and loaded up with joints, and it was the joint cannon. So they were blasting out big balls of joints up in the air.
I remember,
came down into the
was it
crowd.
you got one on the roof of the tent.
I did.
You totally
I
failed.
shot-
I was going to go get it, but my friend got it.
Somebody shimmied up and grabbed it. Yeah, I was aiming for the tent, and I got right on the roof of it, actually. And right on the roof of the sound
It was just
tent.
sitting up
It's
there.
like, boom.
Jeremiah's like, go, just go, just tap the tent, get the T-shirt. I didn't get it.
It was, yeah, that was pretty hilarious. We got photos of all of that stuff, actually. Yeah, so, shit, what else do we want to play here? Now, I don't have the list of, where's the list of videos here? Bringing up the list of videos. I just sent it to Marius because I wanted to play something from the Kush Cup and the Expo there, the Health Expo at the Peony. So it was very cool to hang out at the Vancouver Health Expo inside the Peony, which is one of Vancouver's like major sort of event places where they all have, it's a government-run facility for the most part. It's a non-profit government-run facility. And yeah, they allowed a pot expo essentially at
Huge venue for it.
yeah. Very cool, and it was pretty well done and put together. It wasn't as packed as it probably should have been. Not as many people showed up as would have been expected, I guess. But it was still a lot of fun. We had a booth there. We shot there. I think we shot like 10 hours of footage there or something. I can't remember exactly how much we shot there. But we do have some videos from that. We have... I have a Pot TV Vancouver Health Expo video. This is Remo sitting with being interviewed by somebody at Pot TV. I'm not sure if it's me or Mick or maybe Marius, maybe Marijuana Man. Haven't watched it yet, but we should watch it. It's the top video, Marius.
Pot TV Vancouver Health Expo?
That's the one. This is Urban Grower.
Oh wait,
Yeah, what's going on? Noise out there. I don't know what's going on out there. Somebody's getting busted by the cops. Probably a fire.
All right. I'm ready to go.
So many fires.
Live mic for you right now. Hey, we're just passing through. I can't see any monitors or anything. We got a camera here of our own.
Yeah, no, they're here. Right there and talking.
Hey, Pot TV people. We're broadcasting live from the Vancouver Health Expo. And we're here with Marius, and we're waiting for Jeremiah. I've got lots of weed. You guys want to see my weed? Of course you do. And that's what we're here for. Is that Jan? Jan! Hey, Jan, how's it going? We're on Pot TV right now. Well, I'm running out of weed. I went through a quarter pound.
Is that chemo? Rockstar. Okay.
Take a look at that.
Oh my goodness. Yesterday, we were given bags of 13 different weed. 12 were in a bag, and the other one was outside of the pouch, so I'm not sure about whether we're going to judge that strain. But there's also an extracts competition, and we haven't seen any of that yet. But
I got some right here for you.
Really? Oh.
It looks like we picked up another camera. That doesn't look like a Pot TV camera.
Do you know anything about the extract competition?
Two people got me high on it. That's all I know.
That's all you know.
That's all I know.
We'll figure that out later. And I believe there's a fashion show. I think it's at 1 p.m. today.
It is.
It is? Okay.
It is.
So we're definitely going to be broadcasting that for you. Sam, of applying for my medical license. I am a medical user. I am registered at the YMD, and I'm still looking for a doctor. I think I found a psychiatrist, but you never know until you actually get to it. But I'm going to keep trying. I honestly use this, and if I get arrested for it, then I'll be just another Marc Emery in jail.
You'll be fine. You're going to get licensed, and we're going to legalize this thing, and we're going to have to find something else to do then because pot will be legal.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Cool. We'll move on to another thing like save the whales or something, right? Save the bales, people. Thanks, Marius.
Well, thanks for dropping by.
See you later, Jeremiah.
Have fun. I will, and you'll be by later, and I'm sure I'll see you around.
Awesome. See you later, man.
Take care.
Everybody.
Nice. So that was funny. There you go, Marius. It was you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Remo. Remo is great. He's the guy who put the whole expo together, essentially, with Med Mark and his wife, Sandy. So that's Remo's wife, Sandy. Yeah, great people. Remo's a great guy. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because in Canada, all of the medical growers who are legal now are going to be denied their right to personally cultivate their medicine.
Yeah.
So they're taking away everybody's right to grow, and it's going to be a big shitstorm come March 2014.
I think it's going to be a huge issue. Like, it's going to be massive.
No, it's scary, and I'm sure that everybody's kind of wondering what the heck's going to happen. I'm assuming that it's going to go to court pretty quick, and people are going to try and overturn it. But again, once you get into the court system, these things take years and years and years. It's pretty brutal. So it's this back and forth with the government, and we have a notoriously evil, I wouldn't say evil, but very bad, well, I would say evil, yes.
Yeah,
evil,
I think that's the
I don't
way
even know if I
there.
believe in the concept of evil, but whatever, these guys, if there is such a thing as evil, these guys are evil. So,
I agree. I very wholeheartedly agree with that.
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they're not very nice, and they're hurting this country and all the people who live here, so it's time for them to go. But it looks like Stephen Harper and his cronies might be doomed after all this Mike Duffy stuff and everything
I'm
else.
hoping.
Yeah, a lot of scandals going on. It's good to see. But hopefully they don't just, if Trudeau or whoever it is that's in next, Mulcair,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if I entirely trust these guys to really change
I
the
don't
way
think I trust
things
any
run.
of them, but like honestly, like what choice do we have? It's kind of like
true.
what's the better of two evils?
Right.
So.
Well, and see, now here's the thing. There's the whole pot issue, and then there's a whole nother host of issues that these parties are responsible for. Like, we focus a lot here on Pot TV on prohibition of marijuana, but there's a bunch of other social issues and economic issues and all kinds of things that the parties represent. And I'm not a huge fan of the Liberal Party in a lot of those senses anyway. They're very middle of the road and kind of conservative. They're neoliberal in a lot of ways, just like the Conservative Party. In terms of their economics, I really don't see much of a big, huge difference between the two parties. They're still part of that sort of global elitist system and everything else. And the NDP, to a certain extent, is also.
And the NDP does seem to be
they seem
gaining
to-
some momentum, but it's like it needs to be more. It needs like.
Well, and even I see Mulcair in the NDP now. I mean, now that they've become the official opposition party, they seem to have just shut their mouths completely, and they don't talk about any of the issues. They're not the upstart, progressive sort of really active party they once were. So I don't know. It's all scary. I guess they're trying to be politically pragmatic by saying nothing, so they don't have anything to be criticized for, and they're able to more play the middle of the road and everything else, and look like they're the party for everybody. They're trying to win votes instead of sticking to their party.
Isn't that
ethics and
usually what they
basic-
try to do, though?
Yeah.
They try to
It's hard
win
to even
everybody
find the
over. It's all
platform.
popularity contests.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we need a totally different kind of system of government. But if you ask me, the whole thing needs a restart in a big
Wipe
way.
the slate clean, start over fresh. That'd be nice.
Exactly. So yeah, Marius, videos here. I got the list. What was the video we were up next? Did we have one queued up? No, we didn't. Okay, right. That was the Pot TV Vancouver Health Expo one we watched. We could play some music or something. Or actually, there's the Leahy interview. So Leahy, Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys, Randy and Leahy were at the Kush Cup. They did a comedy show on stage. It was pretty funny. It was pretty vulgar.
It was pretty good. I had a couple good laughs.
They're hilarious. Now there's an interview with the actor who plays Leahy, and we should watch that one. Marius, you ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right, let's watch this one. I believe this is the Weed Guy's interview with Leahy. I'm not sure if a Weed Guy's in it, but again, we'll find out.
My name is John Dansworth from Nova Scotia, and I'm a friend of Jim Leahy. You know Jim Leahy, the friendly drunk from the Sunnyvale River. Anyway, we've come here to British Columbia, where everybody I've met so far is happy as a pig in shit. And I am so blown away by the marijuana culture that's out here. It seems to me, and it seemed to me for years, that the government has been so ridiculously, well, ever since 1923 in Canada. And hemp is so beneficial in so many ways. When you realize that, you know, the big oil companies were one of the instrumental people in limiting hemp, because hemp made an ethanol or some such gas that cut into their profits. If you looked at it objectively, you'd go, what the hell is going on in this world when we're so dependent on oil and fossil fuels that are polluting the atmosphere, and hemp grows anywhere, in deserts. It's incredible. I mean, the oil companies are 3 times as powerful as the big medical companies, and I mean, to make marijuana legal would cost them billions of dollars for sure. So there's a lot of people that are standing in line, making it impossible to make this a legal substance. But out here in BC, you never know. I mean, out here there seems to be another kind of intelligence to me. No, I haven't met a lot of the rednecks, that's true. And I haven't met some nice cops, though. But I tell you, wouldn't it be nice if Canada could learn from BC, start to loosen up these ridiculous laws about possession of marijuana? I mean, it's nowhere. Nobody can ever prove that people who smoke marijuana kill people, cause accidents. It doesn't kill you. You can smoke as much dope as you like, and you can still be healthy. There's a doctor, an MD, up on the stage right now, and he's talking about the fact that people with all kinds of different illnesses benefit greatly from marijuana. It saves lives. There's people in this pavilion right now, many people that would be dead without marijuana. So I'm an advocate. I'm won over. And I've had a ball so far. I'm trying to stay pretty straight today because I have a show tonight, because I'm one of those old-time professionals. I'm one of the luckiest actors in Canada. There's only a couple hundred of us, and we get to work. I've been doing a show called Haven, which is a sci-fi show shot in Nova Scotia. We're in our 4th season. I just got a part in Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden, you know the story. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. Yep, and we just finished a Trailer Park movie coming out soon to theaters right across the world, probably. And we got a big surprise coming there too, I'm hoping. Doing a documentary called Searching for Santa, and I get to go to Sweden. And then I do a show with Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles and Randy called Santa Claus Go Fuck Yourself. And last year we were in the States and Canada. The year before that we were in England and Scotland and Ireland. We're selling out everywhere we go. Last year in Chicago we had 3,200 seats sold. I can't tell you how fortunate and how lucky I feel. And there's one rule. Everything comes to he who waits, as long as she works like hell while she's waiting. You are what you imagine yourself to be. Ain't that the truth? What are you looking at, buddy? Camera out of my face, will you?
You're back.
Yo, we're back.
We are back.
Yeah, it's just Instagram in here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, social media. It just sucks
That's
you right in.
We got a little picture taken of us by Marius. Thanks, Marius.
Awesome job.
There you go. Bam, shared. So that was Leahy. That's funny. Now, yeah, it was pretty hilarious. Those guys, they were in character pretty much the whole time. They barely broke character unless he was really just super drunk the whole time, but I seriously doubt it. But they were really funny, and Randy with his big
I know they
belly
were pretty
sticking out
high
and
most of the
everything.
time.
They were definitely at the Kush Cup. They were at the Vancouver Health Expo out in the tent and stuff, so everybody was getting smoked out, that's for sure. Yeah, they weren't hesitating, at least on the first day. Like, I think they were trying to
Gotta
have
go
a little
hard.
bit of professionalism before.
Honestly, I've lived in Halifax. The weed's not the same. It's not. You know, so I can see them
They
going
got hit
hard
pretty
for the
hard.
first day,
Yeah,
and
they
then
seemed
they're
a little
like,
bit more
okay.
timid on the second day. Yeah.
See what Vancouver's all about.
All right, so we do have a couple more videos here. Let's see what else we got next here. Well, there's now the glass gathering video. So you were there?
Oh yeah, come on now, like, God, I was on Pot TV at the glass
We
gathering.
hung out.
I know.
We were gonna hang out. I know. I knew that you were there. I don't know why I thought for a second.
How can
you
you
were.
forget? How?
All the events are mixing together
I know,
for me.
but I see you at every single one of them.
You were at all of them, yes.
Except the boat cruise.
The boat cruise.
I'm sad about the boat cruise. I know.
There you go.
Next year.
And I didn't see you at the expo either.
Well, I literally was only there for like 2 minutes. So, yeah. Didn't really, I don't know. Just didn't get a judge's pass this year, so I didn't really want to roam around, if I'm not
We
supposed to be
probably
there.
could have got you one. There was only a limited number of them.
We
can hook you up
you know
with this
me,
kind of
I like to
shit.
kind of step back,
Just
and if
talk
I
to
don't
Med
have the
Mark.
money,
Just sweet talk Med Mark. He'll let you in the back door. That sounds bad.
Just be like, Jeremiah, what's up?
Yeah. All right. So Marius, let's play the next one up there. What is that? This is the glass gathering. So let me intro this first, I guess. This is Redbeard's gathering he has up in Birkin, British Columbia.
One of the
It's
most
very cool.
amazing weekends of the entire year.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful, beautiful setting to have a glass blowing event at.
Incredible. Like, the spot is amazing. Like, granted, you do have to drive most of the time to go swimming because it is hot up there. It's very hot up there, but it's beautiful mountains all around you.
Yeah.
And
Oh, the mountains are so crazy, close to you, very high. And we were lucky enough to have a cabin right down by the water. Not on Redbeard's property, but we just rented one. They're really cheap, actually. They're only
it's like a
125
5-10 minute
bucks.
drive.
$125 to rent a cabin, and it sleeps 5 people, so that's $25 a head
That's not bad at
for
all.
a night. That's not bad. No, it's really cool. Yeah, you can fit 5 people in there easy. So that was fun, and the whole event itself was very cool. Redbeard had first-class food cooked for everybody.
Oh my
a
God,
chef
it was
that
incredible. You had
absolutely
like pulled
incredible.
pork sandwiches and like
man.
just like really healthy,
All vegan,
crazy, yeah.
gluten-free,
Amazing.
very healthy stuff. Ian is the chef who is there creating
Incredible.
everything. Very cool guy. We interviewed him on Pod TV. We actually shot video there at the glass gathering as well. Matt Murnaugh was there, and he and I and Mick shot some video together live on Pod TV, which is probably in the rotation right now. I'm sure it is. And we'll get that up too. We should have that 1 hour up on Pot TV soon. I will post that. We've got it done. But yeah, Mick was there and shot some video, and we have a glass gathering video to show you guys. And
They had a really good
Marius-
setup too this year.
yeah, the setup is very cool. So just to sort of describe the way it works, you come up on the property. It's a really big property, and there's a couple different roads you can go. They have a map of the whole territory. It's a big loop that you do. People have different like little places that they stayed throughout the property. Matt Murnaugh had what he called the executive suite, which was a sauna that was on the property and just converted into a bedroom for him.
Yeah.
It was really funny. And it was hilarious. He was...
Didn't that get smoked out a couple times?
It got
too?
smoked
Yeah,
out. There's
it
a
got
lot of
that
hot
good
boxing
totally
going on.
hot
There's video of that, I believe, up online already. And right outside of his executive suite, he had this bathtub. Redbeard had set it up so that there was a pipe coming out off the mountain, really far.
Clear glacier,
Glacier
like
water,
water.
right into a bathtub outside of Murnaugh's room where we kept our beer
Yeah.
and dunked our head and did it all on
super,
Pod
super
TV.
cold water. Like, oh my God, drinks were just coming out like perfect temperature.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I gotta say, big thanks to Redbeard, not only for having us at the
Huge
gathering.
thanks to Redbeard. Like, honestly,
This was the
I
sixth
never
annual.
want to leave. Yes.
Sixth annual.
Sixth
This is
annual.
the 6th year.
And if I could be there
totally
for like
worth
a
it.
month straight, I would. I'm always sad when it's over. Like, there's so many amazing people. And
Yeah, some
amazing
people stayed up there a little longer than others.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I got to go for like 2 days.
Yeah. Well, let's watch the next video then, Marius. What do you think? Let's throw that one on. This is the glass gathering video, and it's cool. It kind of shows off what was going on up there with a lot of the glass blowing.
Super awesome
stuff.
There they are, cooking marshmallows in the glass torches, or in the kilns. Oh, they're in the kiln. Marshmallows in the kiln. Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's the way it's done.
Throw it back in real fast. We'll take a quick picture. It's like the perfect robe.
It does.
It does. It tastes really good.
This camera is high def, but I don't think I get the
I'll
smell.
take it. Oh, you got. Oh.
I'm glad I got that on camera. The lighting is way better in here now than during the day. That's all right. I knew what you meant. It's like 10:30 at night in here.
Here's a recap of how to use a drum gun.
Does anybody have like fucking bunch of Hormel they'd sell me?
This is such a treat. A wee small kettle kiln.
There is serious business going on.
This is serious business.
We're back. Serious business around here on Pot TV. Yeah,
Very
great
serious.
Canadian glass gathering, a lot of fun. Big thanks to Redbeard. And actually, Redbeard right now has my bong that he made for me. Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Lovecraft. Love Crack is the name of the bong now because
That was
unfortunately
depressing
the
to look
first time
at.
I've ever broken a bong or damaged a bong, it was Lovecraft and it has a little crack in it. So he's going to take care of that and fix that for me. Big, huge thanks to Redbeard for being so kind and taking the time with it.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is amazing. We'll have that thing on the show very soon. And big thanks to everybody else who came on the show today. Marius, that was cool stuff you did with paranoidhuman.com. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name.
No, me neither.
Yeah. What was his first name?
Brian.
Brian. Okay, Brian. That's
Brian.
from paranoidhuman.com. And, of course, Stoner Advisory here. Facebook.com/Stoner Advisory, straight up? Or Stoner Advisory
I
Shots?
I think it's Stoner Shots.
Stoner
if it's
Shots.
like Facebook.com/Stoner Shots.
And where, do you
but
have
if
a
you like
website?
look it up on Facebook, it's Stoner Advisory Shots.
Shots. Yeah, that's right. A lot of stuff. And you can see the photos that you saw on the board back behind us.
And much, much more.
That's right.
Tons of rallies, like old rallies, new rallies. Lots of pot smoking stuff, extracts. I'm going to be doing some glass shooting soon as well.
Cool.
I'm going to have the glass gathering photos up pretty soon as well. Like that's my last one that I had four shoots to edit, and I'm down to the last one, which is the glass gathering. So I'm really excited to get those up.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like your shots a lot, and we'll continue to post those on the front page of Pot TV as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. And also big thanks to Jodie for coming on the show, talking about Marc and his transfer application home that was approved just 2 days ago by the U.S. Department of Justice. Pretty amazing news, huge. So Marc might be home very soon. If he is transferred back to Canada, then he would theoretically be out of jail sooner than if he wasn't transferred back to Canada. In Canada, there's a little bit easier, I think, when it comes to certain aspects of it. I'm not entirely sure that that's just total speculation at this point, but we will keep you guys posted on exactly what's going to happen with Marc. Of course, the Canadian government still has to say yes, so there's still that big hurdle with Stephen Harper and his boys. All right, and also big thanks to who else was on the show. I talked about Miranda. You could hear her disembodied voice from the background. Yeah, and Courtney for bringing me a nice drink. That was awesome before the show. All right, and yeah, thanks to Pot TV viewers. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon. I don't know what happened to the camera there. It looks like it's up a little bit. Maybe it's slowly. Oh, Marius knocked it. That's okay, Marius. No worries. And thanks to Marius for producing the show. All right, anyways, we're out of here. Peace, guys. Keep watching Pot TV.